folks. Welcome back to another episode of the League of Logic podcast, a podcast where you can think for yourself. You can learn how to anyway. We try real hard. We're glad you're here and tuning in. Before we get started in our conversation, we'd like to invite you to check out our website, leagueoflogic.com. That is leagueoflogic.com. And on that website, you can find some study tools and some resources to help you along this journey in the search for truth. It's getting harder and harder, man. Getting harder. Also on that website, we've got a contact us page. We'd love to hear from you guys. These questions and comments are doing great. I know we've been ignoring them for the past month, but we've been away. But we keep them coming, and we'll get to them as much as we can. Check us out on social medias. We're on Facebook and X and Truth Social and YouTube, Still Letting Us Go, and Rumble. Like and share, subscribe, whatever you got to do to keep up with the channel, and then to help us get the word out, man. Tell some more people about us, and we would really greatly appreciate that. All right, sit back and relax and get ready for another conversation in truth. Woo! What's happening? I just killed a mosquito, man. I just got the dengue for you right there. Saved your life. What's happening?
Because you brought him back from
brought him back from Brazil. Yeah, back in the good old U.S. of A. again, man. It's always good to be home. I missed the place already, though.
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you, it's good to go to the mission field like that, to help you realize how blessed you are in some areas.
Right.
Put things back into perspective over and over again. And, you know, the sad part is like next month I'll be out of perspective again. I know it's a terrible thing. It's an undulation thing. But, like, for instance, I'm just going to give an example. Like, if you need a part to fix something at your house, a light bulb, a light fixture, a tool. I mean, we live in Smithfield. The closest thing, just go to Lowe's, right?
Right.
Pretty much got anything you could think of. So I had these... in our apartment, we have these little recessed lights that are built into modules. What do you call them? My brain still ain't turned back on in English all the way yet. The cabinet things, like built-ins.
Oh, under cabinet lights.
Yeah. And so they're about 3 inches maybe around, and they've got a cover plate that bumps up against it, and it uses the little ears with the springs on them to hold them up in these holes, just like a can light.
Oh, can light. Yeah.
Yeah. Just smaller. And so I had one of them. Well, there's several of them that have been out, but they're in places where I didn't really use them. And there's one in the kitchen over my coffee bar thing, and it started flickering. So I said, man, I need to get this fixed. And so I took it out. I pulled it out, and it had this nice little plug on the end. You just unplug it. And so I need to go get maybe 3 of these lights throughout the apartment. It took 4 electrical stores to find something that was even close. When I found the one that was there that was close, they informed me that the ones that I had, they don't know where they came from or if they even make them anymore. So I had to get something different. Because I got something different, the plug didn't match. And I ended up having to cut wires and use these adapters to put it back together. When I did finally get it all wired up, it came on and it looked beautiful, but it wasn't the same color as the other ones. You got different hues of light. Mm-hmm. But I figured that much when I was there. And so instead of just getting the 1 or 2 that I needed to replace it, I said, well, if I get 7, I can replace the ones in the living room and the kitchen, and then I'll have extras that I could use in the other cabinets when they go out until I have to replace them all, spare bulbs. And so I connected it. It came on. It worked. I slid the ears up into the hole, and the trim piece,
trim ring, yeah,
was exactly the same size. It was like a piston cylinder. It just like real slow, just went all the way up in the hole, bloop, popped up in the cabinet. Because it's not the same size. So this was almost a full afternoon for me to be able to find lights that were supposed to fit. I carried one with me to this guy. He's putting it together, saying, yeah, this is the same size. This will work. This is fine. I get it there and it don't work. Now it's like 4:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, you know what? This is a project for next trip. This is on my nerves. But like, I don't have that much trouble here doing anything.
And everything there is electrical, is European, so you can't. It's not like you can
Yeah.
buy something here and take it.
Oh, look, man. And so just the wire itself, just the wire. You know, we have, you know, different kinds of wire. Most of the wire in the house is solid strand, right?
Right.
It's that multi-strand wire, like speaker wire. And
Because it's cheaper.
Because it's cheaper. The casing on it is hard as a brick. I mean, it barely moves. So if you're, you know, like here, I can take my pocket knife, just roll it on my thumb, pull the shield off.
Yeah.
I got a wire. If you do that there, you cut through all the strands. You just like chopping your wire up. So it takes forever because you got to be so careful about skinning the wire. It's just same way with the plumbing. Last trip I went down with the plumbing, I had a leak under my kitchen sink. So I was going to fix that. In the process, I broke 3 other things. I basically had to rebuild the whole sink. Same way with the commode. I needed it. They don't have flappers like we have flappers. It's different. You know, we do have some toilets where you push the button on the tank.
Right.
This one like that kind of
flush tower.
That's it, flush tower.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought I was just gonna be able just to replace the ring at the bottom. No, sir. There's no such thing as just replacing the part. You got to rebuild it. I don't know how they do it,
but everything's like that.
Everything. We ordered material for our septic system. I don't know, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before I got there, 1st of July. It got there the last week of July, so we didn't even get to put it in.
Well, we did pray for that. I did tell the church, let's pray the septic tank come in, but I guess it wasn't God's will.
Well, it came in, but not in time.
Yeah.
So our tractor guy showed up. He dug our ditches and everything, got it ready. And then the week that it came, his wife had to go to the hospital or something, so he wasn't able to come back. So it just sat there that last week I was there. Anyway.
So we're so spoiled.
Man, we're so spoiled.
And then we get aggravated if we have to wait an hour.
Look, Amazon Prime.
Right.
You can get some stuff on the same day.
Oh, I'm guilty as that, man.
Yeah.
It's 2 days later.
Yeah. Where's my package?
Yeah.
Yeah. We ordered, there is Amazon Brazil now. They finally moved to Brazil.
Oh boy.
Okay. And so we don't have any decorations, you know.
That's interesting because have you researched it much? I mean, how do they deal with the imports?
So you pay them. So you either get stuff that comes from China that's stocked there that you don't pay an import tax on, or on Amazon Brazil, it will tell you this is an international and you pay extra. You pay for the import tax.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a good thing in a way, even though you pay more, because the availability to stuff is huge, because Amazon sells.
It is,
you wouldn't even think.
But they still don't have all the availability. Like, it's not everything. You can't go on Amazon Brazil and see everything you see in America and just pay an import tax. Okay. There's only certain things. For instance, like I wanted some dumbbells so I could, exercise while I was there. And I have at home, I have like the Bowflex adjustable dumbbell set. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of expensive, you know what I mean? But if I were to order those, they did have like a set on Amazon Brazil. They would have been $1,000 US by the time they got to me.
Wow.
So guess what I didn't get? Yeah.
Did not get the Bowflex.
I got the Brazilian version for $30. It came with like plastic and sand. But whatever, it worked.
Wow.
We ordered we got no decorations, so we ordered a picture to hang on the wall. It's hard to get a picture from America to Brazil, let's face it, particularly like a bigger one. What do you do? How do you do that?
Yeah.
And you go into town and they got weird stuff, man. It's just not our style. But
right.
So we finally found something on Amazon Brazil that Nicole liked, and we ordered it. It only took 3 weeks to get there. And it wasn't an import. It was there. Anyway, it was a good trip. It was a really good trip. We got a whole lot done. Got to give a first class to the teenagers in Portuguese, and I don't know if they understood what I said or not, but They didn't ask me to leave afterwards, so that was a good sign.
Once you started, it was fine though, right?
I mean, I was comfortable. I mean, I was nervous. Don't get me wrong, but I was comfortable in the message, the lesson itself,
Yeah.
and I was, I just did the best I could to try to pronounce the words correctly. I mean, some of the teams were really nice to me. They said they understood.
You've been studying the language long enough now. I think you should have some confidence that
Yeah.
you may not have, but you should have.
Yeah, well, it's always difficult. You add. I'm still nervous teaching a lesson in English most of the time.
Right.
I don't want to say nothing wrong. So you got that part, then add to it, it's in a totally different language, and like phrases and I don't know what you call them, sayings and stuff. They don't translate always over the way you think they translate.
Right.
Like we had Brother David, the pastor down there, was in America one time, and he was doing a missions revival at a church that was close by, and so we just showed up just to say hey. And we didn't tell him we were coming, and so when we got there, he was surprised. And so the Brazilian saying is, and what he told us in English, which didn't make a lot, he said, "Man, it was really a shot in the arm to see you guys here." Well, what does that mean? I don't like shots in my arm. I mean, just a shock, just. Yeah. But he meant like it was a boost. Good.
Is it like Spanish? A lot of things are said kind of backwards.
Yes.
Instead of saying "I'm going to the store," it's "to the store I go."
Pretty. Yeah, I go to the store still one, but it's more like a adjective. So like for instance, one time I wanted a big hammer, right? You don't say grande hammer, big hammer. You say hammer big.
That's what does make things difficult.
Anyway,
not just knowing the words, how to put them together.
You have to think in Brazilian sentences in English first, and then say the words in that order.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't speak English. I don't get that right.
Can't read it, can't write it, can't say it.
No, it was a good trip. We were able to have our first camp down there with the kids. That was fun, and that worked. I mean, that's like seeing the vision come alive, even if it was just one day. But we did a day of teens and a day of juniors.
Well, just looking and see, the pictures and everything else, the news you put on Facebook, things didn't just sit either.
No.
Yeah, that's. In a way, it has to be impressive to the Brazilians to see things move.
Yeah. Yeah, they are actually very
accustomed to that.
They're very appreciative for the amount of work that we put in the short amount of time and how fast we're getting things done.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and we're employing Brazilians to help us with it, so it just becomes all the way around. And we use Rodney more than me because I can't speak just freely. I have to, if I can't control the conversation and they just start with it. Sometimes I get lost because I can't understand and I don't know how to form my sentences fast enough. But some of the people we employ, when they get to the camp to work and they're figuring out what it is we're doing, it opens the door for witnessing opportunities and intentionally, telling them about God and inviting them to church and stuff like that, seeing where they're at.
That's fantastic.
Yep. So it's been good. It's been real good.
I know the other trips that you made, we talked about some of the things about Brazil, but I'm not sure everybody really understands what it's like to even try to do something there. You can't order a concrete truck. It just has some concrete.
Not where we're at. In the city, I noticed they're starting to get to they have a concrete truck if you're in town, but it can't make it where we are out there. And even in town, most of the time they use concrete mixers and they just mix it one small batch at a time, put it in a wheelbarrow, carry it where they need to.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we have pedreiros. We have 2 masons and then a mason helper. And the mason helper's job is we get to make mortar or concrete, anything, we get sand delivered, concrete mix, rocks, whatever you got to have to make those things. Well, the sand comes, they just go dig in the hole, we'll bring you some sand. So he has these different strainers, these little wire screeds. And so he's
like mortar sand that we get.
You can't buy mortar sand.
Right.
You have to make the mortar sand by separating it out into smaller granules with these little basket looking things. And so that's why you have to have a mason helper, because they don't want to stand around all day mixing up mortar when they can be laying brick. So you have a guy come, and that's what he does. He separates the sand, it gets dumped out. So you have that pile. First thing he does is he separates out some bigger pebbles. Then he separates the next one. And by the time he gets to like the third pile, now you got mortar sand that he can put in there and make the mortar. Then they use the bigger ones and the rocks and the concrete, so you actually have concrete.
You don't get to order different poundages of concrete. It's got fiberglass in it and all that.
Oh no, they don't. You get these little. They come in sacks. Like if you would go buy Quikrete, but it's not pre-mixed. It is just like just the cement.
It's just the Portland dust, and then you mix it in whatever poundage it comes out to be. That's what it is.
They measure it by the shovel. And we do have a concrete mixer. I think I put a video up of that. So we've got a concrete mixer out there. We bought some scaffolding. So far we have saved the amount of money we would have paid to rent the scaffolding would have already covered the cost of when we bought it. And we bought a concrete mixer because we keep on mixing concrete.
Yeah.
So it's
the socialism that we fight in America and on this podcast kind of shines through in Brazil. You get to see what it is.
Oh, absolutely.
Just like going to a hardware store to buy a hammer, you're going to have to go through 2 or 3 people to get that hammer. Somebody to sell it to you.
Yep.
Then another person's going to go get the hammer for you, take it to the register.
Then you take your ticket to another one who's the Caixa, the place that you actually make your payment to a lady sitting behind there.
Right. Everybody's got a little job just to purchase a hammer. And it's part of the reason it's so expensive. Plus the tax that you have to pay on it.
Oh man. So we had contracted a bombeiro, a plumber, to help us install the septic system. And so when you contract workers, you agree to a price. Sometimes it's a price just for the job, like to install this septic tank, no matter how long it takes me, this is the amount of money that I'm going to get.
Right.
Other times you do, this is how much I make per day. That's how we pay our masons, is a per day thing. Which, by the way, we have 3 masons that work really hard 5 days out of the week, 3 of them, and it costs us $500 for all 3 for the week.
Imagine.
Yeah. So we hired this plumber, and basically he wanted $40 a day. Can you work for $40 a day?
You can't buy however one for $40 an hour.
Yeah. So he wanted basically $40 a day to work, and we agreed to it. I mean, that's a good price. In the Brazilian world, what he thought that meant is from the time that we agreed for $40 a day, he could just show up at the sítio, at the camp, and he was going to be making $40 a day whether there was work or not. But that ain't how we work.
Right.
If there ain't no work, you don't go work, and you don't get paid for that day. That's why we did it by the day. So this guy was there for 2 or 3 days just sitting around. Oh, he didn't do anything. He sat in his car and drank coffee and watched. And then he thought he was owed that money. We're like, no, that is not how that works. And so he quit. And we were grateful. But he accused us of, because we were Americans, we didn't understand how things worked in Brazil. But we were employing Brazilians who are working at the same spot, and they're having the same questions we're got. In fact, they're the ones that tell us, why is that guy here? He's not doing anything. Does he think he's getting paid? That's not how that works. I mean, they're telling us this is not how it works. He was just going to take advantage of us.
Yep. Taking advantage of Americans thinking they don't know any better.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway.
We're very spoiled in America.
Very spoiled. So my, I always get a spiritual lesson. It's more like a conviction, on things that I need to work on in my own life while I'm there. And so, I mean, last year was big just because of the circumstances that we were in. Quit living in darkness, man. You need to start pointing out what's wrong. And when they don't listen, just get out of it. Follow the truth. Right. And, that ruffled a lot of people's feathers, and, been told over and over again, both sides were hurt. You need to just get over it. That's a lie straight out of Satan. That's how manipulators work, right? They just want you to not have to hold them accountable. So just get over it.
Zero accountability.
Yep. So take that, put it in your coffee and stir it if you want to. I think that's nonsense. if you want me to get over it, that you're talking to the wrong person. I'm over it. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I'm not living in it. But don't tell me to come back and just everybody be friends until you can admit all the stuff that was done wrong, and then we can be friends again.
Right.
And I'd be happy for that. Looking forward to that day when you can get over yourself and tell me that you're sorry.
Yep.
And when that happens, we can be friends. But in the meantime, just you can keep those thoughts to yourself.
Yeah.
So, but that was last year. This year, what I learned is that, and it happened during our podcast with Rodney and Autumn. Those two people are special, right? And they deserve the support that we send to them, and not just to maintain an image of like, this is my missionary, but like they deserve support.
Right.
And they are sold out to service to the Lord.
They're working for a higher cause for sure. Yeah.
And they work themselves to death. They don't care about their personal health about it.
They don't complain.
You know, they're tired, but they keep on going. And, you know, they get a lot of slack for that. Well, you need to take personal time. You need to just not, and like, well, we can't, you know, this is too important what we're doing. And I get it. So they are very worthy of the support that we send them and the help that we give them. But during that podcast, one of the things they talked about is we did a podcast on youth ministry and the importance of having one in your local church. And not just like, this is why you have one, but how to structure it. Like, you don't halfway do anything. Don't go into it with a mentality that's wrong. Go into it understanding why and what we're doing, and that'll help you keep focused and have a plan and work with a purpose. Right. We've talked over and over again about having a purpose, a direction with a purpose, a plan with a purpose. This is why we're doing these things. We're not just, you know, for churches, we're not just here on Sunday because that's what you do on Sunday. We come and listen to a message and we go home. It's got to be a reason for what we're doing. And so it made me really fully understand too the importance of, hey, you know, when you find a spot that God has placed you, don't be an observer. I can't say that word.
Yeah, you got it. It's close enough.
Close enough. Don't just be a watcher.
Yeah.
Right. Don't just be a pew filler, you know, a placeholder. Find where you can actually work to further the kingdom while you're here.
Right.
In other words, don't waste your time in a place that's not making any impact for the kingdom.
No.
Don't do that. No. And when you find a place that's working where God has placed you, go in 110%.
Yeah.
Until you're dead or until God moves you somewhere else.
Right.
Make the commitment and be willing to sacrifice your time.
Sure.
To further it. Anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's easier said than done.
It is. It is.
I was gonna say that.
Some of the, you know, the first thing that has to happen is you got to make yourself available. And if you're preoccupied with something
Other
else,
things, yeah,
you're not available.
It becomes a distraction.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's that's hard to get on a page where my life is, and all the things that I feel like are important are really not important.
Yeah.
And you got to change that mindset. That's where Autumn started off. It was a mentality. Your mentality has to be right. You have to understand that there is something way more important than what I want.
Yeah, or what you love or what you're connected to or anything else. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes because we don't want to let go of certain things because we love it or that's what we're used to.
But this is what Romans 12:1-2 is all about, where you present your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is a reasonable service. Yeah. Paul's telling everybody, and this was part of my lesson to the team. He's telling them, look, man, I know that you're going to have desires that you want to do. I know that you're going to look around at this world and you're going to see things they're doing that are going to entice you. And you're going to think, man, that looks fun or enjoyable, or I like that. I want to do those things too. And he's saying, but look, more important than your own desires is this perfect will of God.
Yes.
And this is what it means to sacrifice yourselves. Present your body a living sacrifice. I know you got desires.
Same thing Christ was saying when he said you're going to leave your family.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, it's not just don't love them anymore. It's not abandon them. But that's what he was talking about.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
But so
get out of the recliner, get out of your comfort zone.
That's exactly right. First thing you got to do, you got to get saved. That was my 3 part. You got to, can you say with confidence that you're a child of God, that you're saved? And then if you are saved, have you like sold out completely to him? Have you made your mind up now?
Are you submitted?
Yeah. Are you submitted to him as Lord? Because if you're not really submitted to him as Lord, I'm going to question whether or not you actually got saved.
Right. Yep.
Right. So have you sold out to him and follow his will and do what he says? And then if you, and even when we do that, when we get saved, when we sell out to him, there are going to be times when we fall.
There's Satan's after you then.
All the time. But then you still got 1 John 1:9. If we confess our sins, he's faithful and just to forgive us our sins. Get back up. To fail is not an excuse to quit.
Right.
We're all going to fail. Get back up on your feet. Confess your sin. Get close to him again. Sell out. Make your mind up. I'm going to follow him still.
Yep.
And keep on going. That was a message I had for the teens because they were all getting ready to hit the real world. But, man, I'm speaking to myself the whole time I'm talking to them. Right. I'm an idiot. I fall down all the time. I follow my lust all the time, all my desires. Anyway.
Which are grander in the United States. We're spoiled in that way.
So the worst part about the United States, and it's the same in Brazil, only, okay, I'm going to try to explain this where it makes sense, and I'm not just rambling. When we stay in one particular space, in one culture, one city, one lifestyle for so long, we become numb to all the things that are distracting us. We don't even realize it.
Right.
We become numb to all the things that we probably shouldn't be doing because we're doing them over and over again. They just become normal. And so it makes it almost like we don't even recognize some of our depravity, some of our lack of dependence on him, some of our lack of submission to him. We don't even recognize it. And the devil loves that.
Sure.
I remember C.S. Lewis in his Screw Tape Letters, he said, these demons talking to each other, and you got the main demon instructed his nephew, and he says, some humans often believe that what we do to distract them is to place things in their mind. He said, but really one of our greatest tools is just to keep it out, keep them what they're thinking, keep them thinking they're okay. Don't put them in their mind where they say, well, I should change.
Right.
And that's the danger, particularly being in America, because we are so blessed. When things are easy, it almost becomes like a curse because we don't have to struggle for nothing.
Right.
And again, I said it when I opened. This is what is most important to me about going back and forth. It's what keeps me focused on being mission minded. Every time you go to Brazil, it doesn't matter how many times you go, you get out of your normal routine. You leave things behind. Go somewhere different for a month.
And we make too many assumptions.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's it. And it refocuses your brain. And they have the same thing. They live in Brazil all the time. And so they have a normal. Take them out of that normal, they would start to realize, whoa.
Yeah.
So in here,
I don't know how you come to America and say things are harder here than they are there, though. But I would imagine they see how bad America is.
Well, when they come to America, things are easier for us to do. And that's what I mean by our blessings become our curse. Because things are so easy and we don't have to struggle, we think everything's great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to go down a different rabbit hole real quick.
All right, go for it.
We also make the assumption that Christ had it easy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't think we realize he was 100% human.
Yes.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Human. And the struggles that he went through. No different than we want to assume that things were easier for Christ because he could walk on water. It was no different for him in the 40 days in the wilderness than it would be for us.
Absolutely.
Absolutely no difference. Out there were just snakes and scorpions and no water, nothing to eat for 40 days. He struggled just as hard as we do. His pains, his sufferings, his emotions, everything was the same as we are. He didn't have it as easy as an American does. I'm sorry.
Right.
He just didn't. And we want to complain.
Trying to find, that goes right back to that verse that I sent to you guys while I was down there. I got lost in a church service one time listening to the guy preach on one verse. It was Hebrews 5:8. though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered.
Yeah. Yep.
That he's talking about Jesus.
Yes. No different. He set attributes aside, even though he was able to do, he was still 100% perfect and good, and he could do good things.
Yes.
As in healing, whatever it was, he could do those things. But man, he's still 100% human.
The second part of that, the next verse, in verse 9, Hebrews 5:9, it says, and being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all of them that obey him. And that doesn't mean that he wasn't perfect, being made perfect, complete. The human part of Jesus Christ is just like us. We are in the process of being made perfect. We are in the process of being made complete. We have to go through the same type sufferings in order to learn sometimes.
Yeah.
To learn obedience. There's a whole message in and of itself right there. If when you're going through life and you're struggling and you feel like everything stinks and you're suffering, instead of like focusing on all this stuff that's
Christ knows.
Yeah. Instead of focusing on, man, my life is terrible. You know what I mean? One, understand Jesus Christ. So he went through it all too. He knows. And so there's your friend right there. You want to talk to somebody who knows what you're going through? Talk to Jesus.
Yep.
And then quit focusing on how bad your life stinks and focus on what is it that you're trying to teach me?
Yep.
What are you supposed to be learning?
Yep.
And I guarantee you a lot of it's got to do with obedience.
Oh, yeah. Everything has to do with that.
All right. Yeah.
100%. That may be a podcast we need to do one day. Real quick though, what is the politics like there? And I know people talk because I've heard you talk about it before. Christopher Wray's now been turned over to the DOJ, referred to him criminal actions or whatever. He lied to Congress is what he did. It seems like all this stuff is starting to come apart. What they did to Trump with the Russiagate thing, but who knows anything will come up.
Yeah.
But here and there in the news, you hear a lot about Bolsonaro and Lula. And I know I don't know if you ever talked on the podcast about it or not, about how people see things in Brazil. But there's a lot of manipulated people there too.
Yeah. Do you think that our media is bad as far as being one-sided? And we still have a hint of free speech, and through social media, we are gaining the ability to actually get truth out. Not so in Brazil. I mean, their media is pretty much all one-sided.
Government control.
In fact, some of our U.S. AID funding was being sent to other countries like Brazil to pay for media to run propaganda to keep people influenced in a certain political direction. Right. And that's big there. So Bolsonaro was like the Trump of Brazil. So they're not everybody is asleep. They understand. Some people do. There are conservatives and there are liberals. There's just a lot of them are more liberal because they are dependent upon the government for a lot of things. They have socialized health care and, stuff like that. But so recently, I didn't realize this until this time too, but Brazil is the one that's leading up this whole idea with China and a couple other countries to get away from the dollar as the trade fund. So any country, basically, when we do trade throughout the world, they use the dollars. And so Brazilian real have to be has been exchanged into dollar, and then the dollars pay China, and then China can exchange the dollar back to yen or whatever they use. I don't know what they use.
It takes a lot of
and so
their money to make a dollar.
And particularly if the transfer rate between Brazil, like the exchange rate now between Brazil and America is like 5.5 to 1, and so $1 equals $1 is 5.5 real. So that they actually probably lose money doing it that way. Right. So they want to have a different currency with the countries that they use most for trade. And so Brazil has headed up this thing where why can't we just create our own currency or, use our own currencies and do our trade that way? And in the process of Trump implying tariffs on everyone, all the other countries and doing this, renegotiation of our trade deals, Brazil has refused to negotiate any because they think that they're still going to be able to get away from it. Well, as more and more countries understand the importance of being able to do business and trade with America, I mean, 'cause let's face it. I mean, we do import a lot of stuff, but there's also a dependence. We don't have to, as I guess is a better way of saying it. We don't have to. We just do it because it became cheaper. Well, with tariffs in place, it's not cheaper anymore. So now more and more things should start being made here in America, and I think a lot of that's happening.
If you're going to buy from somewhere else, it's going to be based on quality more than anything.
Absolutely. And so in all that, Lula, who, that he is the president, but I'm not quite so sure he's running the country. I think that Alexandre G. Moraes is the one running the country, the Supreme Court guy, the head dude. But anyway, so Lula is not willing to negotiate, and so Trump said, that's fine. August the 6th, then we're just going to raise our tariffs on Brazilian products to 50%. That's not a big deal. We won't, here in America, we'll never know it. I think one of the three biggest things that I have been hearing Brazilians complain about that are going to be more expensive and it's going to hurt in their economy is coffee. And then our plumber guy that we've had to let go, he was complaining about, don't they understand that America buys a lot of oranges and mangoes from us? Right? I mean, when's the last time you ate a mango? Let's just be honest.
Well,
yeah.
I love mangoes, but I can go to Florida and get mangoes.
Look, oranges. We got a state, dedicated to oranges. Two of them.
California and Florida, yeah.
Anyway, so that's my point. Like, we don't have to have those things. And so whenever you impose a 50% tariff on those things coming out of Brazil, guess what America does? Well, we don't buy Brazilian coffee. We don't buy Brazilian mangoes. We buy them from other places. And so the people that are growing coffee, which is a huge export for Brazil, but now they lose a major cash flow.
Right. And 99% of their import is, which they don't really manufacture anything there. It's all China.
Yeah. And so, so Lula turns around and says, that's okay. We're going to impose tariffs on stuff that we buy from America. Now we're getting into some stuff that they actually need, things that are starting to work. And people can't afford stuff as it is now, hardly from America because of the import tax. And now you're going to raise it.
Yeah.
Now the quality of stuff into Brazil is going to go way down.
Because it's all China.
Because it's all Chinese stuff. Just junk.
Yep.
And
it might say Makita, but it's not Makita.
DeWalt's the same way. That's steel. Even steel. We buy some. There's a steel store in there. And we use it. But it works. And it's better than Chinese. But man, like a chainsaw chain, it'll last about 2 cuts.
Yeah.
You got to sharpen it. What's that all about?
Yeah. I like that post hole digger, right?
Oh, yeah. Anyway. So then the other thing the country's trying to do then, because it is a socialized country, the government is rich. And so they were going to try to subsidize the farmers and the places like that would be impacted the most by the economic trade by just giving them money. But it's not going to last long. Trump pushed it off to August the 6th, and I think the reason he did that is because some of the government is like, we got to keep this image that we're being strong, but we're going to fold.
Right.
So I would expect it may go into place on August the 6th, but don't think it's going to take long, particularly with more and more countries signing the trade deal with Trump on trade, tariffs and agreements. But yeah, that half the country, this just like here, half the country thinks Lula is glorious. They have this mindset of tolerance and acceptance, and everyone should be able to do what they want to do and be accepted. And that's Lula's platform. He's just like a Democrat. He's like just a left-wing nut. And then you have others that are conservative that like to base their ideas on the truth. And they follow like the Bolsonaro way. You're like, this is junk, man. They understood that when Bolsonaro was president, the economy actually did better, even though the media says it didn't. I mean, just tell a flat lie, right?
Yeah, because they could feel it in their pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it's the same, just in a different, applied differently. The whole world lives in a cloud. And this is what the think class is all about. You know what I mean? Be able to see the truth through all the lies and the nonsense. It don't take long. Even listening to Brazilian news, you hear one thing, and then next thing you know, you're like, well, wait a minute, that don't make sense over here. if that's true, then how could this be true? Oh, I get it. Both of those aren't even real. You're just saying whatever comes to mind. I saw something this morning, I think, that said,
we swim in the United States. We
yeah,
love it.
we do.
Absolutely love it. I don't know if they're like that there or not, but
so we had someone read, got a letter about Medicare, which one's not for the old people, but for the young people,
I don't know, man.
like welfare almost, like, whichever one it is. I think it's Medicaid.
Yeah.
That, and it was a political type letter. Trump is going to make you lose all your Medicaid.
Yeah.
And of course, sent them into a tizzy. But then
maybe unmerited.
Yeah, it was a totally unmerited tizzy, because then the question then became, well, are you illegal? Well, no. Well, are you like scamming the government in order to be able to get it?
Yeah.
Well, no. Do you think people who are scamming it should be able to know? If you're doing it illegal, you shouldn't be able to get it. That's the ones he's focusing on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know somebody that's getting Medicaid from like 2 or 3 different states? Yeah. Well, that person is the one that's going to get caught.
Yep.
If you're not doing anything illegal, what are you worried about?
Why do you think it's broke?
Yeah. Do you think there was another question that was asked, and I thought it was a glorious question. Do you think that you, being a legitimate recipient, should have to take less so that they could divvy it up to all the people that don't need it? He said, no, that's wrong. Yeah. Yeah. But we swim in it. You're right. We swim in stuff like that. Propaganda that you don't even think about, don't even make sense, and you form an opinion, and next thing you know, you're in a tizzy, and you hate Trump. You don't even know why.
Bring all that back again. So we see all that in the church too.
Yeah.
I guess we've dealt with it before, and in some aspects it keeps like comes up, bites you in the calf every once in a while.
Yep.
If you see it in the church, then it's a spiritual aspect. And I think in America it's worse here, even though Brazil's a socialist country. I'm not so sure that they're as deceived as we are on that kind of thing, because it's almost like in Brazil, and I mean, you know this better than I do, but they're either very strong Catholicism, and it's just 100% that way. They have their idols and stuff, or you're not. Mm-hmm. But that's not how it is. And America's got a lot of lukewarm.
Oh yeah.
Right?
This false sense of security type Christians. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's
everybody's a Christian here.
Yeah. And the churches are the same way. It's just
churches don't have the backbone to be able to tell them that you're not.
The tolerance is just like, you have to tolerate this, you have to tolerate that. And of course we did that podcast with Pastor Chris here.
Yeah.
And it's there's not a time that it ends, it seems like, in America. There's people who do not, the tolerance is fine. It's kind of what you were talking about. You learned your last trip that it's like, no,
I can't tolerate things.
There's no repentance.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of where we want to stay in the United States, in the American church. It's just not good. I'm not saying that about every church, but it's really common.
Yeah. It's, it was a point Rodney made during the podcast about the youth group things and stuff. And that is, and I think that may have an impact on where we have arrived here in America in American style Christianity in churches. I think has a direct correlation with the lack of a youth program or implementing one incorrectly. And Rodney's point is that we feel like a kid is not able to understand that sin is bad and there's consequences to it. And so we never really address the fact that we are all sinners and deserve hell, because that seems harsh and bad for a kid. And so we wait till they're like 10 or 11 or 13 years old before we introduce that idea. And in the meantime, we just tell them fairy tales about a little bitty boat with giraffes' heads sticking out of it, and how we should always be comfortable in our skin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not training a kid in the way he should go. You're training a kid to believe a fairy tale. And then all of a sudden you try to introduce sin into the, sin is bad whenever they're a teenager. And by that time, the world has already got them.
Yes.
They have lived in it to the point that they are captivated by the world and the way it does things. And now you're going to try to change it after 10 years. You can't do that.
Yeah. As a grandparent, I've learned that lesson and it's a hard one to learn too. But I've already seen it. I've already seen a child that, wow, they already get that. They already understand that. And that's recently happened to me. It was, they pick up on it. They know.
There's a reason why kids go to school to learn when they're 5 years old through the 18th. That's when your brain is taken into most.
In kindergarten.
They understand.
In kindergarten, they're old enough to understand the difference between heaven and hell.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And this person right here seems like they're probably not right.
By 5 years old, but in fact, before 5 years old, by the time they're 3, they should understand the difference between right and wrong, at least to the point to know I can't do that, or just, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
5 years old, they're really getting understanding. This is other thing that churches that a lot of times they do wrong is like they have children's service, children's church, and they let people go out all the way up to 10, 11, 12 years old. 5 is probably good enough. I mean, I get it. You get a 3-year-old, they have a hard time being quiet and understanding what's going on. By the time you're 5, if you're going to school and you're sitting in classroom with your teacher and you're being quiet, you can do that for an hour in church.
Sure.
At 5, there's nothing wrong. There's no way that's not possible. Yep. If they're trained to do so. And I love what they do down there. They have the kid sheets for the 5-year-olds on up a little bit, gives them something that they can interact with during the service. They may not catch it all. I mean, they're 5 years old, but they can have a sheet that's related to the message.
Yeah.
And you just have little things every now and like something so simple. Who preached today? Write their name down. What was the Bible verse? Well, it's going to be on the screen every now. These modern churches, we got screens. You write the Bible verse up there. There it is.
Yep.
Just write it down.
In children's church, it's not playtime. It's not daycare.
No, it's not daycare. The other thing they do down there, which I think is glorious, even on like Wednesday nights, they separate all the people. So you have the juniors, which are separated and then the teens and then the adults, and they all have their own little Wednesday night services. But in those services, they're learning the same songs that the congregation sings on Sunday morning. Same way in children's church, they're learning the congregational songs. They're not learning deep and wide and little kid songs. They're learning real songs that the congregation sings, so that when they do incorporate and you have the corporate worship with the whole family, these kids already know the songs.
Right.
And if they can't participate in everything else, they know the songs. And so all the kids, all the ages, stay in the service through the beginning because they're all going to sing the songs together. And even at 2, 3, 4 years old, up to 5, they're still having a corporate worship in the songs. And then they get to go.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then those kids, another thing I've thought about too is that if you take that approach, and then these kids that are that young start comprehending these things, and then they talk to other kids outside of the church about it.
Yes,
spurs their interest because it's not just something. I can do that at home.
Yep,
or we do that at school or whatever. This is something new. This new information, and kids are curious, man.
Yeah, there's all kinds of kids. Rodney Otto can give you lots of examples of kids that have come to church because the kids already in the teen group have acted like it was so much fun. They want to find out what it's all about.
Right.
On the other side of that,
it has to be intriguing for that. It has to be something new.
It's got to be challenging. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah. So it's not that they're boring. They're not like Bible thumping, primitive Baptist youth group. I mean, they do have fun, but they are very guarded. They don't want to be like the world. They want to be different, but they still make it fun. Look, the Bible it's
rich. It's rich meat.
It is rich, man. It is intriguing. What else do you need?
Yep.
And one of the points Rodney keeps making, and I think it's phenomenal. If you're a youth director, if you're a Sunday school teacher, if you're a pastor, and the people that you are teaching or that are following you don't have a love for God's word, what are you doing wrong? Are you not showing how much you love it?
Yeah.
Rodney says, how could I be a successful youth pastor and my kids not love the word of God?
Right. I want to know more. I want to dig in it. It's either a personal problem.
Yeah.
It's you got a heart problem or
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that by any means whatsoever that as a pastor, Sunday school teacher, or a youth guy that you should expect 100% of your people to be like, "Yay, God!" I mean, it's not going to happen
Right.
that way. But you should have some fruit in your classes or in your flock where you can say, "Yeah, they understand, they get it."
Yep.
Yep. On the other side of that too, not only are you excited about it enough that you're influencing others to be able to see, and they want to know what's making you so happy. The other side of that was too, like at the teens camp, we did our lesson, are you saved? Are you sold out? Have you fallen? Do you need to get back up? But follow God, follow. And then Pastor David did the evening service about are you an influencer? Or are you being influenced? You're only in one or two.
Are you a leader or a follower?
A leader or a follower, right? Yeah. And so after that, these kids, unprompted, now nobody did this. We had, I can't remember how many teens we had. I want to say 37 teens at this day camp. We have the evening service. We roast some marshmallows. We have hot chocolate, and it's time for everybody to go home. Well, before they left, there was like two of them that are like solid. And they said, "Hey, let's huddle up." And so all these teenagers stood in a circle. And one of the kids was like, "We need to take a moment to pray for each other because we've been challenged to be influencers and not be influenced. And we're about to go out there into the world, into public school systems and Catholic schools, and it's going to be hard for us." Mm-hmm. And they took time to take prayer requests on like, where are you going to be? What can we pray for you with? And then everybody prayed together.
And these are kids.
These are teenagers, man. I mean, yeah, like 13 to 17 years old. All by themselves, they decided to do this because they were so convicted and responded to the messages that were given during day camp. And they understood the importance of staying focused on God first when they get ready to go out into the world.
All right.
How many Americans, even adults, realize the danger they put themselves in every morning when they get up to go into the world?
Yep.
Anyway, I'm glad that we got to do the podcast on the youth group because or the youth ministries. It is something that I will refer people to over and over again. And I'll do it right now. You need to listen to that more than once. And, it may at first seem boring, but pay attention to the points they make of why. And they base it all on scripture, by the way. Right. This idea that, children come second in a church is nonsense.
I agree with that 100%.
Total nonsense. There are tons of passages that tell you that the kids are supposed to be learning just like the adults are. And I'm not saying to neglect the adults at all. I'm saying this is the reason why we focus on everybody. But
that whole idea, and I've been against it. I mean, I understand it. There's a place for it, but I've been against it for a long time. If you go out there and you find the man, if you reach out for the men, he'll bring the family in. One of the first problems you have, especially in America, is look around.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of families that don't have a dad in it.
Don't have a dad in it.
Yeah.
And it's not that you shouldn't have a men's ministry. Have one.
Right.
But don't forget everybody else.
Satan has swooped up the kids.
Yep.
Because
that's it.
Nobody's paying attention while nobody's looking.
Yep.
They're focused on something else. That's the way sounds harsh, but if that's your idea, if that's your theology, your church is probably dead.
Probably dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably don't have hardly anybody in it.
That's it. Living on your savings account.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, well, I don't know if that was a terrible podcast for coming back or what, but
no, it's a different view.
Different
lens.
Yeah, different lens. Anyway, we got some good ones coming up. Just to give you some sneak peeks, we're going to talk about. We got to get into this whole idea of what was it again? That thing they met, the accord they made on the way over, the founding fathers.
Oh yeah, that's one. Yeah, that's one of the.
I forgot what it's called. Just that quick, my brain just left.
The
Mayflower Compact or something.
The Mayflower Compact.
Yeah,
that's it.
Mayflower Compact. That's
that's just part of it. Though.
That's just part of it. We've had some questions about that. Some visiting of that. That's going to be good. Anyway, there's going to be some good ones coming up, some topicals. So we're going to have some guests on to help us out with that too. And so, but I think that's all I got for today, man. You got anything else? Cool. All right, folks. So we out then. Thank you for listening to another episode of the League of Logic podcast. We hope something we said has made you think, man, really made you think, and even made you mad sometime, as long as that's making you think. If you got any comments or questions, we invite you to check out our website. On there, you can find a Contact Us page. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can comment on all of our videos on Rumble and YouTube. While you're at the website, check out our study tools and apply them. We'll give you some 4 basic pillars of logical thinking to help you in this journey in the search for truth, which I'm telling you, man, it's becoming a cloudy place to work through this world. Check us out on the rest of the social media platforms on Facebook and X and Truth Social, and give us a like, a subscribe, a share, a follow, whatever you got to do to help keep up with the channel, and then to let other people know about us, man. We'd appreciate that more than anything. Hope you guys have a good week, and we look forward to you tuning in on the next episode.